What's up, guys? So it's been a little while since I've made a video. Last year got busy with all kinds of stuff, kids, work, but gonna try to get back into it. And I figured the best way to do that would be to just sort of give an update on the airplane and go flying. So for anybody who is unfamiliar, what I have here is a Kit Fox Series 7, and last year was my first year owning the airplane. It originally had the Grove gear that I have under the table there. I've since put on Shock Monster Cabane gear with Shock Monster shocks and increased the tire size on these Alaska Bush wheels to 31. I still have the 26s over there, which an argument can be made to run those if you don't need 31s because they're lighter and technically less draggy, although at this stage of the upgrades doesn't really matter, but they're definitely lighter. 26s are lighter. That's the majority of what I've done to the plane since I've had it. The engine in it is a 912IS, a Rotax 912IS. So we're at about 3/4 of its TBO lifespan. So already kind of mapping out what I'm going to replace it with. I would love to put a 916 in there, turbocharged, 160 horse. That's basically a 60% increase in power, 50% increase in power, give or take. Because this engine actually has a big bore on it, but lordy, is that an expensive upgrade. We're talking about like maybe to the tune of $80,000. I haven't fully priced it out yet, but the issue with it, aside from it just being inherently expensive for the engine, is I've been told that I've got to replace the propeller as well, which I love this constant speed prop, and I think I'm going to keep it. I don't really do like super hardcore, sub 200 foot takeoffs and landings. I don't do competitions. So like saving the weight for, like a fixed pitch prop, two bladed something or other, isn't super important for me right now. Maybe in the future, but to replace this with like an MT prop, I guess the new engine has a whole different bolt pattern. Like it's just not even remotely possible, nor supposedly safe, to replace or to run this prop on that engine. So that just adds another 20 grand to the engine swap. So, we'll see. It may just come down to putting a new 912IS in there for now. It sort of sucks because it's technically a downgrade to go to a new 912IS because it won't have the big bore kit on it. It's only 10 horsepower, give or take, probably less than that at altitude. So will it be noticeable? I don't know, probably not. But in my head, I'll know I've lost 10 horsepower for my expense. What else? I do plan to change out the tail wheel pretty soon for matching Shock Monster tail wheel. Tony makes these absolutely beefy tail wheels as well. So I'm going to swap that out pretty soon. And this year, the big upgrade is going to be brakes, wheels and brakes. Actual wheels, not the tires, the wheels and the brakes. So last year it was the gear. This year I want to get Behringer wheels and brakes. Grove brakes are fine, but the Behringers are just absolute beasts. They have two sets of drums, front and back. They are integrated into the wheels. So one really cool feature of them is if you do want to run more than one set of tires, i.e. big 31s for the backcountry, smaller, cheaper to replace tires for the paved strips and stuff on the off season or whatever, it is very easy to swap them out because the brake is actually attached to the caliper and then there's this teeth system. I'll show you. There's good videos of it out there. I highly recommend Project Kit Fox. He is not just the subject matter expert, but he also will sell you some. He's a Behringer dealer, so definitely send your business his way because he has such good instructional videos and stuff. But go check him out. The wheels are like now basically the de facto standard in bush planes in the U.S. here. They're super cool. They're not super cheap. They're like $5,000, and obviously, if you want to have another set of tires with those wheels on them, you don't have to have another set of brakes, but you have to have another set of wheels, which is also an added expense. So I probably won't go there right away. But the braking performance improvement is not just more braking strength, but also more fidelity, as I understand it. There's just more dexterity in the brake quality. You can get on them harder, more smoothly, so you don't get lockups and start tipping your nose over. And they do have more strength. All right, I think that catches everybody up to 12 Kilo Alpha. Let's get her pre-flighted and take advantage of this beautiful day. Very careful with the electrical because the EarthX batteries that are in here that a lot of people are using in their light aircraft are awesome because they save a ton of weight, but they do lose charge real quick. I mean, that's the trade-off, right? So I make sure that I have them on minimum amount of time possible so that I don't do what I have done before, which is get in, get ready to go, and crank, and get nothing. And no longer go and flying because it takes a while to charge back up again. So anyway, you got to be careful with the EarthX batteries because they're smaller, but they are way lighter and really nice. Mountain looks beautiful today, but there is a lenticular on top of it, which means you probably don't want to get near the mountain. The winds are ripping up there. So we can talk about the annual a little bit. You're bound to have a couple gremlins come up on your annual, particularly when you have an engine that's in its later life. 3/4 of your way to TBO on a 2,000 hour TBO is still a lot of flight time. I mean, to give some perspective, I probably fly 60 hours a year unless I'm really flying a ton. And that's, 5 or 6 years in TBO life left before it's at its TBO. Now, you usually generally don't want to run an engine straight up to its TBO unless you just don't care about getting any value back out of it, salvaging any value on a resale. Usually, I guess it's better to sell your engine around the 3/4 mark so that there's still a lot of value left in it for a lot of people looking to save a little money on an engine. But yeah, there's tons of time left on the engine, but you're still going to start seeing little things here and there. So one interesting one this time was we saw this bright green leak on the firewall, and what was strange about it is that my airplane doesn't have anything green in it. There are no fluids that are green in the airplane. Oil is brown. Fuel is blue. Coolant is red. None of those are green. So we were a little stumped at first. Thought it might be the fuel filter leaking and some kind of mixture of oil and fuel in the fuel filter could have maybe created a green color. And we were part of the way there. Indeed, it was fuel and oil mixing to create this weird green color. But it was not the fuel filter. In fact, it was the fuel pressure probe was just a little bit loose enough to let some fuel out to leak onto the firewall, and then any oil that might be blasted against the firewall, which my engine has very slow seepage out of the rods because of its age, which I'll probably try to address when this flying season's over, because you kind of obviously have to really pull the engine apart to get to those seals. But that oil sort of spray when in flight, you know, all the airflow over the engine, pushing all that very small leak onto the firewall, mixing with the very small leak of fuel from the fuel pressure probe, created that green, weird green liquid. And luckily it was a very simple fix, even simpler than replacing the fuel filter. Other than that, there was really no big issues. All right, starting our descent into Randall, Keona Air Park. Randall, Yellow Coast on Kilo Alpha is final. It's runway 7, Randall. One big tree. Needs to find this runway tends to be a little funky with the wind on the final here, so I'm carrying 5 extra knots. But God, grass is so fun to land on. Okay, just landed Randall, and it's so pretty out here. Mountains up there. We can't be more than, I don't know, 10 miles from Rainier, maybe less. You got beautiful grass strip. It's whenever I land on a grass strip after it's been a while, it's crazy how plush and easy it is. Obviously, you add to that the gear and the wheels or tires, and it's like, I don't want to say you can't screw it up, but it is very, very forgiving and just a pleasure. Plane's doing well. We don't appear to have any issues, knock on wood, after the annual. Purring right along. No real wind to speak of out here, which is really nice, because sometimes the approach over this area, for whatever reason, it doesn't seem like topographically like it would be that big of an issue, but there's always this like little weird little burble and sink right there. Maybe it's because you have all these tall trees and in this area of no trees, so there's probably some kind of a mechanical thing going on there. But just a beautiful spot. It is private, just so you guys know. Any private strip you need explicit permission to land at, and my buddy, this is his plot right here, and he's given me permission to use this strip, which is really nice to have, because all the grass strips that are not private further up north, like around the Seattle area, are obviously used quite a lot. There's a lot of traffic up there. just not that it's hard to fly around that area, but on a beautiful day like today, after it's been bad weather for a long time, it's going to be a busy area. And this is just serene and have the place to ourselves at the moment. So gonna enjoy it for a moment more, and then we'll get on up out of here. Full little spot for a few minutes. Let's go. Have a little fun before heading home. Let's get it. 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 Pierce County, you're looking for some 2 Kilo Alpha. Turn final 35, Pierce. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right, guys. We are all pushed back and just gonna get her tucked in and get out of here. Just a little vlog to get the video making juices flowing and start making content again. Gonna try to be pumping out a lot more videos. If you guys have questions or video topics you'd like me to hit, throw them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe, and stay safe out there. We'll see you guys next time.